Hello and welcome. This is a tutorial on how to use PhotoMagic's Instant Fall Tones. What I love about our Instant Fall Tones is these are not actions, so they're very user-friendly. So you'll start with a finished edit, and the point of the Instant Fall Tones is to maybe take out some greens, add a little bit more golden colors, reds, things that make it feel like it was more fall when you took it. If you took your photos in a very green area, this can really help to kind of just quickly transform the photo. Okay, so in this photo here, we do have a little bit of the green tones, so we want to see if we can kind of bolster the autumn mood. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to kind of just show you a few of our instant fall overlays. You go to File, Place, my favorite ones, the Instant Fall Fire. That adds a really rich autumn tone. So it's okay if you stretch them, and since they're not really relying on detail very much, it's okay to stretch them. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to set this to be a different overlay mode. Now I recommend overlay, soft light, and there are a few others that can work depending on your photo, but it's best to maybe kind of go through and mouse over and see about which is going to work. And granted, this is 100% saturation, so it's just to kind of give you a rough idea of what you're working with, but I am satisfied with the soft light. Okay, and so there's just really like 3 simple steps to using these. First step, I like to lower my opacity. You want it to appear very natural, so you can see before it's very green and yellow. If we want to take it up a little bit, this is kind of adding that rich autumn warmth. Okay, and this is at 36%. The second step you'll do is apply a layer mask. This allows us to erase these unwanted tones off of our subject, and that is found down here where Add Layer Mask. So you make sure that you have your layer selected. Click Layer Mask. Okay, and so this is showing everything in white now will show up. So if I want to remove it, you set our brush to be black. So whatever the opposite color is what it will remove or add back. So if we want to go and make sure you have a brush and it's set on 0 hardness, so it's going to be very soft. And then I like to build what I'm removing. Set your flow to be kind of low, between 25 and 30. Okay, and you'll make sure that you click on this little layer so it has these little borders around it. That way it knows that you're working with that. And I'm just using my brackets to go bigger or smaller. That's kind of a nice shortcut. And now I can kind of lightly dust over here on my subject to kind of remove that fall, those unwanted brassy tones on him. Okay, so then we can even get a little bit bolder now that the fall tones are not on him, and see how this has really warmed up our photo. Kind of gives you a nice natural base to work with. Okay, so this was the Fall Fire, full of very warm, rich tones. Let's see what else we have. It's my favorite, the Ruby Sunset. That's more of a softer fall tones. Let me show you this one. It's not as rich as the Fall Fire. Okay, so set the blend mode to be I like to stick within the overlay or soft light. Those are pretty surefires. Another one can be color burn if you're feeling really bold and want to go with some really big color changes. but I'm going to stick with, let's do overlay on this one. Overlay is a little bit more saturated. Okay. And then adding the layer mask. It's already selected for me. My brush is already on black to erase. And I'm erasing the tones off of our subject. The nice thing about using layer masks is if you go a little bit overboard, like say I'm erasing in here and then I look and I don't like that it's gone so close to his feet and I want to undo that, all you have to do, you can use a short key by pressing X, and now you'll notice that it's gone to white, which is adding the image back. Okay, so you can actually go back and paint on the colors that you didn't mean to erase. So it kind of adds more control for you. Okay, and so that is the Ruby Sunset before and after. Okay, let's look at another. We have a little bit on the cooler tones. Our Autumn Frost along with our Warmth. So I'm going to go and I'm going to set this to be soft light. Again, I'm going to kind of keep it in the natural range, probably about 35 or 36. Okay, adding the layer mask. Alright, now I gotta switch because right now I'm on add color back, so I'm gonna switch it to be black, so it's removing layer. This is really the most difficult part, is understanding what's adding and removing, and that kind of comes with time. So I'm kind of brushing this to remove skin tone. And so I can see that this one can use a little bit more tolerance. So I'm going to bump it up. You can kind of see that it's kind of just this really pretty, cool but warm. It's just kind of interesting. And the thing that's nice about our fall tones is that we can layer them. So, you know, I have all these past layers. I can also add back my Ruby Sunset, maybe decrease the opacity of Autumn Frost, because when you're combining them, it can get overwhelming pretty quickly. But you can achieve like a new recipe each time just by layering some of these. So it's really neat. So this is kind of an overview of how you will play with the different instant fall tones. This is before our fall tones and after. Okay, the next one I'm going to show, we have an additional pack in there that allows us to add more interesting fall backgrounds. Sometimes maybe your photo looks like it might need a little bit of help. You know, we have a lot of green going on here. I don't really feel that this gives me an autumn vibe, but maybe the goal is to achieve, you know, very warm tones. So first I'm going to go in and I'm going to add some gold tones to it. Let's do Harvest Time. This is another one of my favorites. This is going to add that golden shift. Alright, so all the different options that we have. Again, I usually stick within the overlay or soft light. Hard light is also an option. And the linear light. Let's try the linear light this time. That could be interesting. So let's drop this way down. I'm going to warm it up just a little bit more though. Okay, we're going to go to 40 this time. Feeling quite bold. So now the next thing we want to do is make sure we erase all of this off of the skin tone, because that's not pretty when we have saturated skin tone. And then I like to do it kind of on everything. We really only want to have the fall tones on foliage or that kind of atmosphere around it, whether it's the sky, that sort of thing. That creates the illusion that there's a fall going on. You know, since we have this set on 30, we can maybe make a couple passes over it, because what that's saying is the first wipe, as we're holding down our mouse and coloring over here, is removing 30%. So we could do that, you know, up to 3 or 4 more times to 100% remove some of it. But it allows you to kind of build like that natural appearance. That way you don't see any harsh halos. And if you do find any, you can just use the X to switch from erase to add back. So now I have a shift, a nice autumn feeling I'm getting, a nice autumn vibe. Okay, so now I want to maybe add a little bit more of an interesting backdrop. Our instant fall tones come with really nice options for bokeh and backdrops. The bokeh is sort of the effect that you get when the light peeks through the trees, which is kind of neat because if you want to have photos that look like they have some light in them or a reason to kind of brighten things around your subject, these bokeh overlays are great because it adds light to your photo in a natural way. We'll use both of those today. First, let's start with the Golden Leaves Backdrop 2. Okay, so with this one, we don't use the overlay methods. What we're going to do, I'm going to show you, since this is going to kind of be around where the sky is, I'm going to kind of eyeball about where I'm going to place this. In this one, we're going to actually add a layer mask, but removing everything. So it's going to be a black layer mask. And to do this, you just hold down your Alt key, click on layer mask, and it's gone. Now we can paint on this background, and that's pretty neat. Very fun to do. So we have our brush set to white, which is painting on color. Black is removing. And now we can kind of just blotch on this background here. This is kind of neat because this is almost like you're peeking through the trees. So I already have a very more interesting kind of fall backdrop going on here with our subject. And see how I don't want to go so far down. I can just switch it and go to remove. Okay. So this is before our interesting fall backdrop, and after kind of makes it look like there's some more interesting fall leaves behind her, or maybe that there's a little bit of fall foliage in the camera. It's very pretty. Alright, next we're going to place some of these bokeh and see what this is like. So each one's kind of different, and they're also meant to be custom tailored to your photo, where you would like to have light in your photo. So this one I'm going to leave on the layer mask to be everything revealed, which means I need a black brush to erase. We certainly don't want any of the light on our subject. Okay, maybe I decided I don't quite want it coming through here. Maybe I want the light to kind of be popping around her. Okay, one thing that you want to kind of pay close eye to, sometimes beginners miss, is watch out for these halos. Whether it's a dark halo or something that looks slightly unnatural. That could be maybe a little bit of the majority of the time you spend kind of customizing. It's just making sure that it blends. It's okay to kind of paint it on, and then there we go, and then drop your flow to be really low, maybe like 10, and then go back and slowly erase. So now that's a lot better than having a halo around her. Okay, so this looks like there's a lot of light going on, some interesting foliage, and this is just definitely more of an autumn feel, our before and after. Have fun with these overlays, be creative, Hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and keep an eye on our channel for more. And you can find our overlays at photomagic.cc.